Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes. The application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next.
The next item is SD 2020-36, Tulip Farms Addition, Lot 1, preliminary plat and site plan review of a distribution warehouse at 13,001 Highway 70. The applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 13 in subsections, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. This application be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from the commissioners? On the application, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Velasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White, Chairman Clifton.
Yes. The application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next.
That concludes the Development Review Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. We'll move right into our public hearing. Rezone case number 2020-11 and conditional use case number 2020-5 to rezone property from C3 to C4 to allow for a conditional use for a contractor's office with outdoor storage at 6919 Service Road. Is the applicant here? Please come and give us your name for the record.
Chris Robinson is my name.
There has been a staff recommendation and conditions for consideration. Have you had a chance to review those conditions?
Yes, sir, and the only one I had a question on was number 6.
Access from service road permitted. Would that be under our NOROC's purview to review the access road?
It's coming off Service Road, which is a city street.
Okay,
So with the conditional use, we'd have that ability to add that, or, and again, you guys can remove it, or city council could remove that item.
okay.
But that would be bringing vehicles into the neighborhood, and so that was our concern of having business vehicles coming into the neighborhood.
Okay. Oh, okay, your concern, sir?
My only concern was that the address is on Service Road and not MacArthur, the road in front of it. And per the plans, we have an entrance on the front off of MacArthur, but I just didn't know if that was going to cause a problem with the postal service versus off of MacArthur. Like, where do we put our mailbox?
Okay.
So that's my only concern.
Chambers?
John, that's a valid point, that his address is on a road he does not have access to for mail and such. Should he or can we change his address to MacArthur, or how do you resolve an issue like that?
Yeah, yes, we could assign an address. So there was a house there before, and it was addressed, so the property had an address assigned to it. So we could change the address to MacArthur.
I mean, I support the idea that commercial access should access off of a commercial street. And I can see you've got enough land to have a nice circle drive through there to pull in and pull out and all that. And what I'm hearing staff say is make an application and change the address.
Yeah, so at the point in time that they came in for a building permit, we would fix it at that point.
Okay, so you could change your
That's
address
not
and
an
that would
issue.
give you a unique address on MacArthur,
Okay, yeah, that was the only concern, yes,
which
sir.
is more of a prestige street anyway.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, sir. Please come up and give us your name.
My name is Michael Bitson. I live across the street. Let's see, I guess that would be east of the lot there. And I got a drawing of how it's going to be built. And I just want to get verification that access and egress is going to be in that southeast corner down below here. Because I live on that other side.
What is your address, sir?
Pardon?
Address? Your street address?
Mine is 7008 Service Road. I live on the house just across the service road. And so I want to just make sure that that's the only access to that property by this industrial equipment and not come down that residential road.
That's what we just discussed.
Yes, we were talking about that.
Yes,
But I
sir.
want to make sure and make it clear that they're not going to be coming in on that back side
Well-
with their equipment.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, but item 6 says no access from service road permitted. So
Okay,
he
well,
cannot-
I
he
didn't
cannot-
see that, but that's
If
good.
he
It's good to know.
violates that, you contact the city, and they have the option that if he fails to comply, that they can pull his power meter, they can.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's what I wanted to make sure, that there was not
There are
traffic was not
penalties.
going to come out on
There
that.
are penalties for violating.
Yeah, okay. The other item that I had was about the address being 6918 or 19 Service Road, which is, if they put it on their business cards, there's going to be traffic coming in on the back side rather than the front side that the drawing has.
So we're going to solve that for him.
Front, yes. I thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Come up and give us your name for the record, please.
I'm Joe Reynolds, and this is part of Meadow Lane Acres subdivision. I've lived in that subdivision for 40 years, and the original letter I got, I was a little concerned about outside storage, or what they would be attempting to store there. I have visited on the phone with the applicant. I have not met him personally, but he and I talked, and I'm satisfied with what he and I talked about. I believe there's going to be an 8-foot wooden privacy fence around the property, and the entrance will be from MacArthur Drive. And it appears to me from looking at the survey stakes, I didn't go on the property, just walking, looking at the survey stakes, that if they put that privacy fence on the property line, it'll almost do away with that gravel driveway that comes through there, and especially in the back. Right? And, you buy property and you develop it, and if there's 5 feet between somebody's house and yours, that's the way it is, So I want to make sure that, if we're going to put a privacy fence around, let's put it on the property line, not put it somewhere else and give somebody some easement for a driveway somewhere, unless it goes through the proper procedures, the planning commission, the city council, and all the long-term plans of North Little Rock. And this property is part of the city of North Little Rock. It is not territorial rights. It is part of the city of North Little Rock. And the other gentleman that spoke, not entering from the back with heavy equipment or anything, that was going to be one of my concerns, but I think we've taken care of that. I don't think we need to do that. And we talked on the phone, and he had intended to, I believe, do all of his interests from MacArthur and do his stuff from the front, not try to come from the back. And a privacy fence back there does not need to have gates in it where we can open them up and do something back there if that's permissible. And whatever we do, everything, all the interest from the front. And I represent Meadow Lane Property Owners Association. We have a lot of people that have been out there, senior citizens, for years, and we discuss it among ourselves. And I'm the chairman, and I usually come here and make comments, bring their suggestions and their needs and wants to the planning commission or the council, city council, whichever, and whatever. And like I say, I visited with him on the phone, and I'm happy that we're getting a business here that will prosper and be an asset to North Little Rock and to the subdivision, because when this property was annexed several years ago, 15 years ago or probably about, Robert Vole was director of planning, and he sent a letter to everybody there in the subdivision that they were going to be zoning that area. You had the opportunity to go down, look at the maps, have your input, do what you wanted to, say what you wanted to, and make suggestions. And I'm the only guy that showed up. This was before the Meadow Lane Acres Property Owners Association. I'm the only guy that showed up. And I built a house out there almost 40 years ago myself, and I have been there ever since. And you know, it was a thought down MacArthur Drive, which is a pretty good stretch from Crystal Hill Road all the way out towards Oak Grove. That would be commercial property, and would be, you know, to put businesses in there, and then we'd have the subdivision behind it, and it would be prosperous for everybody. And like I say, nobody showed up except me. And then some people come in and bought houses that were in C3, and then they go to the bank to get money, and the bank tells them, hey, you can't have a residential in a C3 zone. So they got to go through all the process of coming down here and getting the zoning changed and getting everything done. And a lot of people, when they buy something, they don't know what they bought. And I talked to him about several items, and he's very, very well aware of what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's going through the proper procedures and getting things done right. Some people we've had 2 or 3 occasions out there when somebody buy a piece of property, the first thing they do is move used house trailer in there. Then they come back and they make them move it, and they get mad. They want to do bodily harm to Joe Reynolds because I come down here and voice my opinion about it. So, you know, but nevertheless, but I'm satisfied as long as we do it from the front. We're going to do an 8-foot privacy fence, right?
That's what's listed.
And then I know that the highway has a pretty sizable easement in front, so that pushed the building back 50 feet or more.
That'll all come before to be permitted.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure he's aware of that. We talked about it, and we talked about the sewer system that runs down the road. We talked about a whole lot of stuff, and I think he's going to be an asset. And I don't have any problem with it. Personally, myself and the people that belong to the association that I represent, nobody's voiced an opinion. The only concern we had was entering from the back and storage, and those things have been worked out, so we don't have a problem with it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, sir. Just for clarification, Sean, the fence along Service Road, it can come down the side property lines to the front building line on Service Road, and then it has to go along the front. It's not a property corner fence. He has to actually stay back at the building line on Service Road?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I was concerned that you would jog the fence to avoid any big trees, and then I would, and please do, and then you do have to stay back, the 25-foot building line?
Well, I think we've agreed to 30 feet per
Okay, so there's a 30-foot building line along Service Road, and you'll have to build your fence along that line.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good, sir. Thank you. And that's not enough room, Mr. Reynolds, for anyone to use or build a house, okay?
Okay. Is there any comments from any of the commissioners? Any comments from anyone else in the audience? On the application, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Belasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Your application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what to do next. Thank you. Next case is item number 2, conditional use 2020-6 to allow a car lot in a C4 zone at 2001 East Broadway. Would the applicant please come up and give us your name?
Eric James.
I'm sorry, say again.
Eric James.
Okay,
Young Rhymes.
okay. You wanted to put a car lot in where there was an existing car lot before?
Yes.
And you have been to the design review meeting, and have you been furnished a list of conditions that might be considered here today?
Yes.
Do you agree with all of those conditions?
Yes.
You can comply with them,
Yes.
okay? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? Has there been any call-in opposition, anything on this?
No, sir, we haven't gotten any calls.
Okay. On the application, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Belasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what to do next.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, conditional use case number 2020-7, to allow a minor auto repair shop in a C3 zone at 11921 Maumelle Boulevard. Is the applicant here? Please come up. Give us your name again for the record, Mr. Lemon.
Yes, sir. My name is Tim Lemons with Lemons Engineering, and I'm representing this conditional use permit 2020-7. And right now, this is an existing car wash, and the buyer would like to convert this to an auto repair facility. We will not be adding onto the square footage, but we will be adding a couple of parking spots to meet code and landscaping. But the perimeter of the building will stay as it is. Be glad to answer any questions.
Have you been submitted supplied a copy of the Design Review Committee conditions?
Yes, sir, we have.
Can you comply with those?
Yes, sir, we can.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Is there any comments from any of the commissioners?
Yes. This is Commissioner White.
Yes, sir, Mr. White.
I have a concern about this. First of all, this is an important corner at Maumelle and Crystal Hill. And, you know, we have different car repair shops around the city right now. And we just got through cleaning up one in Levy, you know, the Browns. And what my concern is on this corner is there's 27 junk cars sitting out front every night, sitting in pickups and everything else on this corner. So my question is, are all vehicles going to be inside at night and no outside vehicles that are going to be repaired because of this location?
Just a second. On an application like this, is there requirements that will not let him park vehicles to be repaired outside?
You all could add that as a condition if you're wanting to.
Okay.
But if I mean, it's a corner lot, which is odd, but if we were to require that or something, we would require an 8-foot fence for it to be hidden back behind. And so at the moment, he hasn't asked for that yet.
Mr. White, did you hear that?
Yes, sir, I heard that. I would like to amend this, that all vehicles have to be inside at night.
Are you saying inside the building or inside the fence, inside the property, what?
Well, I'm saying inside the building, just like the one that we have on JFK that we approved, that, you know, they park the vehicles inside every night. I just think that this is such a big lot, and he's probably going to have a lot of business on that lot. And I just think it's going to be one of those things that we say, why did we vote for that?
So are you making that in the
Because of what
form
we've
of,
had in the past.
are you making that in the form of a motion to be added to this?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Is there anyone who
Sorry to
wants
do that.
Is there anyone that would second that motion?
Not a second.
Second?
Seconded by Don Chambers. What?
Who seconded? I didn't.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry, who seconded it?
Yep. Charlie did.
Charlie.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion on the floor to add this to the conditions of approval.
Mr.
On
Clerk, yeah.
discussion,
Let's see. Okay.
on discussion of this motion, Mr. Lemons, would you like to address that?
Just talk to the owners, and they're willing to comply with that request.
They are?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to point out, I know it's going to be a rare occasion, but if someone has a vehicle there and it has to stay one night overnight outside because the bays are full, would that be an issue? Like if they had to order a part or something and it takes a day for it to get here? Unfortunately, vehicle breakdowns don't always happen on the schedule that we want. So
Well, I
we
think
could-
that our ordinance would read that none would, but in the rare occasion that happened, it would probably be hard to catch you that particular night that it happened.
Understood.
Do I need to say anything else, Ms. Fields? Okay.
It's not our intent, but,
Yes, sir.
you can't plan for the inevitable, so it won't be habitual.
I guess,
On
yeah,
the
what I'm
motion,
looking for is,
sir?
no, this Steve, what I was looking for is, that we have a car out there, and I understand that, but then all of a sudden we got 20 out there. And that's what
Sure.
I'm not for under any reason. I don't care if the parts are there or not. But as far as a car being left out, one night for a part, then that's understandable, but 20 cars are not.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, Mr. White. On the motion to add this to the conditions, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Velasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Okay, on the application as amended, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Velasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Your application did pass. See Mr.
Thank you.
Spencer, and he can tell you what to do next. Thank you. Next case, item number 4 is conditional use 2020-8 to allow a tire store in a C3 zone at 11921 Maumelle Boulevard. Mr. Lemons for the applicant.
Yes, sir, it's me again. Last item of the day for us, but yes, the buyer would like the privilege to be able to do tire work as well at this facility, so be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Is there something on here that says there's no outside tire display?
I believe there is some limitations on the tire display as far as the storage of new and old tires. We are going to put a facility in the approximate location where the existing dumpster pad is, and we're going to encase that on 3 sides with a split-face concrete block wall. It will be in containers to where moisture cannot get to the tires, the old or the new, and we will have a wood gate in the front for accessibility to get into those containers.
Very good. Anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners?
This is Chairman White again.
Yes, sir, Mr. White.
And again, I'm just curious, why this wasn't all on just one application, number one, if John can answer that question. And then number two, as far as the tire deal, and this goes back to John F. K. Again, we have a tire place that follows the rules. There's no outside tires. They're not stacked up behind the building. We don't have to worry about rodents or anything like that. And then we had one down the street in Indian Hills shopping center that, we had hundreds of tires that were stocked out back, and then we had cars, and then the whole deal. Again, this is one of those highlight corners to me that I'm not sure you want all that. And even though the tires, it says the limitation of 30 tires outside, they're still outside. And how many nights are those 30 tires just going to accidentally stay outside? Because that's a lot of work bringing 30 tires in and 30 tires out. So I'm getting more concerned about this by the second, because it just, we've had so many of these start off, look good, and then all of a sudden, with the exception of the one on JFK, all of a sudden they just become an eyesore. And I don't think that's fair to the people that drive up and down Maumelle or Crystal Hill all day and see something like this. And even though he's going to put them in the block storage, I still have a concern about that. Because he's going to have over 100 tires in there, according to what this says. 100 tires per 1,500 square foot. I'm sorry, it could be more than 100 tires. And we're talking about used tires too.
Yes, sir, it is used.
So that's my concern on the tires, unless he can convince me.
Okay, Mr. Lemons will speak. Let me say this one thing about that in reference to that. I know that the fire department has been really trying to find the operators that are not complying with the city ordinance, and has really been working with tire dealers that are not complying with that in the North Little Rock area. So I would imagine that this new operation would be included in that operation to see that they do comply. Would that be fair, Mr. Dustin?
I provided them what was given to us from planning, so they're aware of. Sure.
Yes, we do have, between the fire department and the code enforcement, we, Senator over there, we go over there and try to, this they're very in contact with the use files and they keep up with the
Chairman Clifton, we can't hear a word he's saying.
Well, he is explaining, go ahead.
This is Dustin Free. I'm Deputy Fire Marshal here in North Little Rock. So what I was saying was the city has an ordinance that already lays out everything that a tire company is supposed to use. Once they're in violation of that, then we get with the code enforcement and we go out and we cite them for that violation, and they have to enter into code court. So with that being said, he has a copy of that ordinance, and he was reciting it basically whenever he brought in what they were going to be doing. So our office doesn't have any concerns at this point until it becomes a problem, and can't really stop somebody from doing something until they actually become a problem.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Free. Mr. Lemons, you want to respond to his question?
Sure, I will do the best I can. As far as the one application, this is the way that we thought we needed to handle this, to have two special use permits, because they were they're the same but separate. So we contacted planning, and they agreed this was the right way to go. So that's why it's two different applications.
Okay.
Let me address, if I could, the tires as far as being in an unsightly condition. The owner is well aware of what is required as far as the outside storage of tires. That's why he's going to the expense to put in a fairly elaborate storage facility for the tires. And I just spoke to them, and they said of course, they're going to keep a clean place. That is a beautiful lot. It's very well maintained, and we're hoping that what we're going to do is going to even add to that by adding even more landscape than what the city is requiring. But as far as the tires, whether it's required by ordinance or not, there is no plans to leave any tires outside the building or the storage containers overnight. We're not going to leave tires laying around. If you'd like to make that part of approval, then we're more than welcome to go along with any of that.
Thank you, Mr. Lemons. Mr. Chambers?
Mr. Lemons, as explained to us in the Design Review Committee, you'll have 2 shipping containers. They're fully shielded.
Yes, sir.
And so this is a 6-sided box, so to speak. Tops and sides. It's a shipping
Okay, yes,
container.
Gotcha, okay,
So it's a
yes.
steel box, okay?
Yes, sir.
Even if there was a fire, you could conceivably close the doors and smother it,
Yes, sir.
okay? So not only is it a shipping container, or what, 1 or 2 shipping containers, and they also have fencing around them or shielding so that you cannot see the shipping container. There's no rain coming into the container to cause mosquitoes or anything like this. So to me, it looks like a double shielded solution to an unsightly problem. And I get the feeling from your client that he's going to be very meticulous about being sure that there's no trash or garbage or tires or anything like this, that he runs a very tight shop, so.
Thank you, sir, very well put, agreed.
Thank you. Mr. White, did that answer your concern about that?
Yes, but I would still like to add an amendment that there would be no outside tires left out at night.
Okay, did you get that, Mr.?
Because it does not state that in here.
Okay, on the amendment proposed by Mr. White, do I
Delete
hear a
item
second?
6 is what he's asking for. Delete item 6 under conditions.
Sir?
Is he asking to delete item 6 under the conditions?
Oh, he wants to,
No, I'm not
wants to add.
asking that. I'm saying it's okay during the day, but at night they got to be
Okay,
inside.
yes,
yes.
okay.
Chief said they would be inside anyway, and he offered to put that in as amendment anyway. So
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded that this be amended. Does anyone need it read back? On the amendment, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Velasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
yes,
Chairman Clifton,
Yes. On the application as amended, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Velasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass. Thank you. Okay, item number 5 on our agenda today is rezone case number 2020-12 to amend the land use plan from single family to light industrial and to rezone property from R2 to I2 to allow for industrial development and to rezone a buffer area from R2 to a green belt at 13001 Highway 70 in North Little Rock. Is the applicant here to represent?
I am Thomas Poundell with Thomas Engineering, representing the applicant.
Okay. Mr. Pownell, you have been submitted with a copy from the Design Review Committee. Would you agree to those conditions?
We're not on a design review, are we? It's a rezone.
No. I'm sorry, this is just for the
Quite all right,
rezoning.
sir.
Straight up
Okay.
rezone.
Yeah. You want to tell a little bit about this to
Sure.
the commissioners?
Sure. What you see before you is a map showing about 450 acres out Interstate 40 and the Galloway exit just east of Highway 391 and north of Highway 70. We are asking to, as stated, rezone it from I2, or from R2 into I2 industrial use. Let's see. You read it off, and there's some area in the middle of the property that we are placing a green belt to act as a buffer between some existing neighbors. That's at 50 feet, and a green belt would remain undisturbed. And I'll entertain any questions the committee may entertain.
Okay. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Pownell, the submitted site plan
Yes, sir.
conflicts with the rezoning. Will you be submitting a new site plan?
What I'd like to do with the site plan is tie it. We can submit a new site plan, yes. And we can do that.
Okay. That'll be reviewed at our next design review committee meeting. How do we handle that, Sean, if he has to change the site plan to fit the new zoning perimeter boundary?
What are you asking, Mr. Chambers? Are you asking that the site plan doesn't show all the property? Is that what you're stating?
Well, this site plan
Yes, sir.
doesn't have a cutout for a green belt.
That site plan does not go all the way to the property where there is a green belt.
Okay. Oh,
So
I
there's
see.
another site plan within your
I'm
packet
sorry,
that shows the
I'm sorry.
overall.
There's the green belt corner right there.
Yes, sir.
I see it.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
My mistake. They changed scale on me without saying they
Okay.
changed scale on me.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, sir. Please come up and give us your name for the record.
My name is Kip Moore. I live at 13519 Highway 70. The little jog out on Highway 70 is me and my neighbor. And we're being surrounded. It's all rezoned, right? It's all zoned now R2. And our concern, excuse me, we didn't receive this notice till about a week ago. And I've talked with the adjacent property owner to the west and the property owner around us, and also the Conservancy. They're all concerned that they haven't had time to evaluate the effect this is going to have on their properties and which way to go. We just haven't had time to go through the nuts and bolts of it yet. I can't speak for them, but I have talked with them. And I don't know if they have a representative here or not. I know my neighbor is here. But in general, we were requesting that the rezoning be consideration by the Planning Commission be delayed till the next meeting, where we would have time to go through this and see how it's going to affect us environmentally and physically and everything else. So that's what my concern is. I also am aware that the project's going to be developed on the west side of the property, that the facility there. And I have no objection to that whatsoever. We've been there 47 years. My neighbor's been there longer than I have. And when we came out there wasn't anything in Galloway but a cotton gin and an old store. And over the years, we've seen things happen and develop, and we realistically know that there's no place to go but our way. So personally, my wife and I are not concerned about the rezoning. I'd rather have it industrial than family, because I've seen what's happened on 391 and around that area with families. So we're not opposed to it, but on behalf of the rest of our landowners around there, that one of them, the head of the Conservancy, has had a illness and couldn't be here, and they've talked about it. The Harold Young Trust, who owns the property around me, the little bridge around me, is concerned about it, and they just want to voice their opinion and haven't had time to do that, to get together. So that's what we're asking for. I'm asking for is a delay in that time period, to put it off to the next meeting, so we can come with some definite answers, or just come back and say, hey, everything's okay.
Okay.
You know, see what I mean?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, sir. On the issue of notification, was that done appropriately and on time?
Correct. So they mailed, they hired an abstract company and everything was mailed out 10 days before and stamped by the post office and everything.
Okay, so they met the requirements.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well-
Item two is Mr. Spencer, understanding the neighbors and their concern and understanding the importance of this project. Is it possible to rezone the west end of this property and postpone rezoning the entire portion until the next meeting?
Anything's possible. So, I mean, that would be up to the applicant if that's what his request would be, if he's willing to change that.
Here, do we?
The other alternative we have is merely go on and rezone the entire property, recommend rezoning the entire property and let the city council hash it out.
Correct. That would be an option too, is let the elected officials.
Because we're the recommending body. We're not the zoning body. We're the recommending body.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Mr. Moore, what he's saying here is this commission is charged with just giving a recommendation
That's
to
right.
the city council.
Right.
Whether we
Delaying
say,
that recommendation. to
Sir.
extent. I'm asking that you delay that recommendation
yes, sir.
till next meeting. Now,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna throw in my opinion. I'm not trying to stir stuff up. If the development area, we can waive that part of it from the holding the review. If they want to go ahead with theirs, that's fine. With me, I'm talking about me. And just hold the rest of the property that's not in the developed area for the distribution center.
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't mind if that was taken out personally, and then just hold the rest of it till the next meeting, so we can have because that basically doesn't affect us more on the east, on the west side, and on the north side, and the floodplain up there and stuff like that. And I know there's time elements in the design, and I wouldn't have any problem with that, but I would request that the balance of the property give us the time to review it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore. Commissioners, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jane Niles, and I'm the other private property owner next to the Moores. We are both historic structures, and ours is on the National Register of Historic Places. So I only want to express my concern. I don't know how. I saw one sentence in there that said something about the rezoning would include extending the North Little Rock city limits. And I don't know how that affects me at all. I know we are outside the city limits currently, so I don't know what that effect would do. As a historic property owner, I'm concerned about future traffic, future lights, future everything. So I just mainly wanted to let you know my concerns.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Niles. Is there any comments from any of the commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Charlie Foster. I got a question for the applicant.
Yes,
Do you know if there is any future plans for any future additions to this facility?
Right now-
On the more behind.
Right now, the only
more
plan is,
property?
right now, the only plan is the western portion you see on the included site plan. That's our plan right now.
Mr. Chambers?
Are you representing the applicant? Are you agreeable to move forward with approval of just the area that you indicated as being going to be developed and postpone the remaining site from review and approval?
Mr. Foster, yes, I'm representing the applicant, and we want to move forward with the property in its entirety.
Mr. Chambers?
Okay, thank you.
I think I was merely going to ask Mr. Pownell if he would consider separating the west part from the total, and what you just said is no?
That's correct. We want to move forward with the entirety.
You asked him, you would like a vote on this application as presented?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir?
this is Commissioner White. Let me ask a question. When does the city council vote on this?
I'm sorry, say again?
When does the city council meet on this? In a week or 2 weeks?
It'll be whenever they can get a sponsor. The next available council meeting will be
24th.
the 24th. If they choose to get a sponsor and present it at that council meeting, or it could be anytime up to a year, is that right?
Correct. They have 1 year to
They have 1
get to city
year
council.
after this commission, if it were to vote yes, to make the application, and if it votes no, then it would fall off and it would have to go through this process again.
Okay, so my comment is it's a minimum of 2 weeks before it would go in front of the city council.
That is correct.
So in my opinion, I think we should go ahead and vote on this. And the young man and I can't see him, so I'll just give him a compliment, young man. He still would have 2 more weeks because we've already followed the rules, but he would still have 2 more weeks to contact the alderman and the mayor to voice his opinion or work with Mr. Pownell on exactly, what the property will look like. And so I feel like, because money is money, I feel like we should go ahead and vote, and because we did what the regulations require. But then again, if it was Monday, I might be saying something different, but they have 2 weeks, the property owners in that area have 2 weeks to contact the alderman and the mayor and let them, have their opinions on it. So I think we should go ahead and vote on it today.
Thank you, Mr. White.
I agree. Mr. Pownell.
Okay, anyone else? Any other commissioners?
I agree. Mr. Charlie Foster, I agree with Mr. White.
Okay, thank you. On the application, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Velasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Your application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what to do next. Mr. Moore and Mr. Files, you have approximately 2 weeks to contact your alderman in that area. And I would suggest you get with the engineer and see if there's any compatible way that y'all might come to a good, satisfactory agreement, and then come before the city council. Okay?
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda meeting today. Our next item on the agenda is our public comment. Anyone?
Move for adjournment.
Motion made and seconded. We adjourn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all very much.
Thank you.